What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast for Raf and Tim coming to you with another installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. It's a little busy out here in this world. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of news that happens. This is our Tuesday episode of the show where it is a little bit more PGF centric, but there is big news all around. So that does require myself, my good friend Tim Freeman, to come together and join not full Voltron, but most of Voltron. So we have like the body, which everybody knows, most important part. And then we have like the head, maybe one of the arms with the sword. Nonetheless, the arm and the sword himself, Tim Freeman, is here. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Raf. You know, the one thing I'm learning and I've come to know about the modern day jiu-jitsu world is just when you think everything's going to be calm, it gets flipped on its head again. It's great to be here. No matter how I'm starting to think we could meet every day and we would have something new to talk about. So much stuff going on. It's great to be here. I can't wait to get into the nitty-gritty with you.
Agreed. And, you know, hey, listen. Before we even get to the actual board itself, we were given a rumor of some sort that is potentially happening. We're not quite sure all the way through. But, Tim, like for you, when you hear there's a rumor that is potentially out there, what are your feelings? Like, what are you initially thinking whenever somebody says, oh, I heard there's a rumor about the PGF? Do you have to try and quantify it? Do you get nervous about it? Do you wonder where the source is coming from? Because we heard a rumor about the PGF that we can't necessarily substantiate yet.
Yeah, you know, I do consider the source, although I can't be too judicious against the source because sometimes I'm the source. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I just wake up and like, I'm making something up today and we're going to Reddit with it. Let's go, baby. But this time I'm not the source, Raf. Okay. Yeah, I hear some stuff's going down.
I'm so glad you say that because it's like, well, for the other 60 episodes of the show that we've done, good grief, is it Tim the source? Who knows? Hard to say in this day and age.
Deep throat.
That takes on a very different meaning in this age. And you know, it's kind of strange because that was the 70s and you would figure that would be strange for them too. But nonetheless, we do have some stuff to run through. I do see some notes here. It says Lazy Boy Gang. Are you familiar with this, Tim?
I am not. I'm wondering who is this individual? Shay Green LOD.
Don't know, but thank you for that. We did see some news and updates, but yes, we will bring you that update in a little bit on the show. But while we're taking looks at this, I see, good afternoon, gentlemen. Egg is joining us live. Thank you, Egg. Appreciate you guys. What I can say, though, is whenever we have our friends tuning in, and it says, who is this Kevin fella? The guy pictured has a drinking problem. I mean, the only problem that I know of for the Kevin on this show is Kevin on this show used to have a coffee problem, I thought, but I don't know if that's the case anymore. Nonetheless, why don't we get directly to the board itself? All right, the first thing, the one on everybody's mind. How can I say goodbye to what we had? Yes, ladies and gents, the rumors, the speculation. Well, actually, we didn't have time for the rumors because Craig just announced it, and it was kind of random, if we're being honest. But it does look like B Team is officially coming to an end, and that has caused some major questions because whenever Craig makes an announcement, the question we all have is this bullshit or is this a real thing? So far, we are inclined to believe this is a real thing. My first question to you, Tim, how did you take this announcement and what it really means in its
really surprised me. I didn't think Craig and B Team group, and honestly, like Craig leaving B Team it's like when your mom and dad split up and you get a new stepdad, and he's kind of cool and he's kind of fun, except he's so cool and fun. He's kind of never home. And the only way you can kind of interact with him is when you look at his reels. Oh, Ma, he's in Ukraine. Ma, he's over here. He's passed out in the toilet. He's with a coterie of lady boys singing karaoke, Ma. Like, it doesn't surprise me that this has happened. And look, the B team was bonded, branded, and built on their dislike for one person. And that's never going to be long term. We're not mad at Genghis Khan anymore. He was a terrible dude. And we're like, yeah, but he's kind of badass, right? Like, it just doesn't stay. There's just, the energy's not there. What it does, though, is it sets the stage for Nicky Ryan to lead a team, a competitive jiu-jitsu team, against his big brother, Gordon Ryan. And I really think that this is the big opportunity to see Gordon at his absolute best and worst on social media. So I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, not a surprise, Raf.
So, okay, maybe, but like the initial post Craig put up was ICE finally got me, which you feel is a joke, but you don't know it's a joke given the current administration. I feel that there's more to this. Now, one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a eulogy for B Team in just a second, but I would like to post some conspiracy theories first, because isn't it a little strange that now the two biggest teams out in Texas now belong to the Ryan family? Just saying, what if they were pulling the biggest con job in the entire world and they came back together? Not that they would. And yes, some of you take what is reported online as fact, which it could be, but we don't know because no one talks about it. So there's this whole rumor that we all dance around and nobody's ever gotten a full answer and will probably never get a full answer about. So it's hard to take that as fact as news people here. Having said that, I do feel like somebody here, and I think it was Isaac that put that in here, and it said B Team is just rebranding. Kind of. They actually are going to change ownership from what it sounds like, because I've seen people address both Craig and Seth. And when you do that, it does look like it's more than just rebranding. Rebranding just means like, hey, we're New Coke this week. It looks like they're not only doing a new name, but the ownership rights will go out. And I think there's been some allusion to the idea of when you have 5 or 6 guys together, the pie gets a little smaller each time. And I'm pretty sure when you look at somebody like Craig, you start to figure he's taking a big part of that pie when he's not there. That just, Craig is tired of doing this. Like, opening a gym is not a fun. It sounds fun because you get to train and you're in charge of everything. But ask any gym owner own their gyms and just ask them how much fun they're having opening up and having their gym stay in business on a day-to-day venture. So those are a few things that kind of stuck out to me. But Tim, given some of those either conspiracies or those facts or those speculation that I'm throwing at you, what do you think this has on the implications for jiu-jitsu as a whole? Because people are just talking about it from the Texas or the brother relationship. But B Team changing its name does have a little bit of uncertainty to it. So what, if anything, is that going to change for us in the way that we see jiu-jitsu, sir?
I think what it will probably do is it will up the novelty factor, especially because Gordon has rebranded to Kingsway, right? And now B Team is going to be, I don't know, King's Court. Who knows? I don't know what they're going to do, but this new kind of like, it kind of puts a new shine on it, I think, and people are going to want to tune in, at least in the beginning, to see what it's all about. Everyone's going to want to see the Kingsway athletes compete when they get out there and compete. And I think it's going to be the same thing for the B Team. I wish this was like a big pro wrestling move that they pulled ahead of time. I don't think they're that smart. And if it was, they really didn't do that great of a job because they just kind of split up, and now like a bunch of dudes went their separate ways. It's not like they're good. If they got back, it'd be huge. You know, they didn't quite work it out. I don't know if it has major implications moving forward, like on the competitive scene. I think it's mostly in the novelty factor. Honestly, I just think it's interesting and people are going to want to kind of check it out and see what happens.
So when I talk about will it have implications, part of me thinks, I mean, it sounds like the gentlemen who were doing it right now will be the shareholders. If you'll say Nicky Ryan is head coach and the rest of the guys kind of do their thing, that's kind of how it's been operating as was. The only time I think Nicky was taking time off is when he needed to recuperate from any kind of surgeries or anything like that. But by and large, it sounded like he was doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. Having said all of this, the reason why I ask if there will be any implications is simply because we're at a place now where these athletes have become so synonymous with those brands, and that in itself, as the top competitors in the world, I think when you carry that flag, it's going to have an interesting thing. You brought up one very, very good point, which is Gordon recently started going off on them, as you would expect, and had some feelings about them saying like, well, they're cutting out the cancer. Okay. Doesn't like Craig Jones. But then he said something that really, really made me laugh, which is, and they're getting rid of the name, as if he's the only one that's allowed to rebrand. Like, didn't they just rebrand New Wave to Kingsway? And if so, man, make a pitch to the good gentleman of the former B Team relations. Maybe Queensway? Just saying. Just keep the thing going. Because at this point, what do you got to lose? And now it's brother versus brother. I mean, brothers jiu-jitsu sounds good to me too. But you put one brother at the end with a question mark in plural. I just feel like there's a lot going on here, Tim. And before I move on, I just want to ask one more thing, which is, do you feel that people are going to leave now that Craig is left? Or do you feel that some of that luster is going to happen there?
Yes, I do, actually. I don't know if people are going to leave, but I think you might see a slowdown in the interest of people getting out there, potentially. Craig is a very dynamic personality. He's a big draw. People want to be around him. They want to talk to him. They want to take a picture. And all those other guys are super cool, and they're very popular too, but a lot of people want to be around Craig. Now, I think you might see in new people showing up. I don't know if you'll just have people outright quit. Look, it sounds like he's not there that much anyway. So anybody that was going to quit because Craig's not there, they've probably already quit. So I don't foresee a major drop off in that, but I could see some of the outside interest, dipping a little bit. And what's Craig going to do? What if Craig does something major? Right? I mean, it could totally draw attention away.
I mean, Craig's saying you won't see from him anymore. Who knows? But he also alluded to, I think, on Luke Thomas, that they will likely, there's a big possibility they're going to do a Craig Jones Invitational 3. So I don't know exactly what all this means. Maybe Craig just needs that vacation. And he was supposed to get a vacation a while ago. Anyway, I love that you guys said, oh my God, I hear a dog. Well, we've determined that you have good hearing. You could hear my dog outside, who mostly just wanted to go sunbathe. That's really what she was barking about. So we opened the door so she could go sunbathe. That's really what it was. But here's what I want from our commentators in the comment section. Have better quality comments. All of your comments suck right now. Like, if you're going to point out that you have a dog that's barking, find the joke to doing it. Otherwise, I just have to put this here, and this doesn't do anything. This is a terrible joke. Let's move on. Before we go on, I'll do a quick eulogy. Let me put some time on the clock. All right, here we go. Dear beloved, thank you so much for joining us here today. We are gathered to celebrate the memory of the B Team, a group that came together out of spite, which is honestly one of the best things in jiu-jitsu. They were some of the best trolls we've ever known. From their comment section to their insistence on somehow copyright violation with their jerseys. I mean, we're not quite sure on the legality of most of their merch, but what I would tell you is what they lacked in legal knowledge, they more than made up for in their amazing contributions to social media. I cannot tell you how many of my students would ask me, "Hey coach, have you seen what happened on B Team's social media?" And I'd say, "Probably not, but I heard it was funny." And it's because they reached this beautiful younger demo of grapplers that want to just go and train and lift and hang out and do a podcast where most other people do the work. And I feel like that is a great life to lead. So to me, when they would say that, I was just so happy that we got to see the emerging personalities of our friends, Nikki Ron and Ethan Kronston, and of course, Nikki Ryan and Damian. By the way, we should be very clear. Semen Hands. Can you rebrand that? Because that more than B Team needs the rebranding. Just saying. But this is a big loss in our community. Yes, they would troll Gordon Ryan, and that had its own sort of fun, but it's a simpler time. You guys helped get us through COVID. You made fun of so many things. Who will make all of the autistic and dick jokes in the community now without B Team? It's a real loss. Having said that, let's not think about where we were. Let's think about where we're going. I don't know what you guys will rebrand yourself as, and it is unfortunate that we had to kill Craig Jones to move on, but we're going to take the good memories. We're going to hold on to them near and dear right here. And don't let anybody tell you guys that they didn't change the culture, because I'll tell you this much. That team alone made you more interested in jiu-jitsu. They've changed the way social media has been run. They've changed the way that we've done merch in this business. And I think they're going to continue to have great success. What kind of success? That's the question mark. And I can tell you this, they made it a lot more fun. I look forward to what their next ventures are. And RIP Craig, it's been a fun ride. Whatever the next thing is, we look forward to what it is. But you can't tell us you're not going to see us. This is some dumb bullshit that I don't want to hear. We enjoy you. We like you. But if you're just like, "Oh, you'll never see me again," sir, we have some other people in this sport that I would like to not see again. Mm-hmm. You were not one of them, so don't go anywhere too far. RIP. Thank you. By the way, anytime you see somebody who does a speech and they end with "thank you," wrong. Don't know. Like, that's how you know. What is wrong with your hands? What'd you do there, Tim?
I shook hands with Damian earlier. I don't want semen hands, dude.
Let's move to the next topic, and I'll also take a look. Congratulations to B Team for a great run. All right, here's what I have. Our challenge right now is you need to give me an update on one PGF Season 8 athlete. So I'm going to put time back on the clock, and I'm going to have you tell me what is going on with just one member of the PGF Season 8 community.
How
many did you prep?
I prepped 3.
God damn it. Fine.
Oh, dude, stupid stuff. I'm sorry, man. Nothing too crazy. Look, a couple of the boys are out there doing seminars, which is good because I hope they're making money. John Chandler's got one coming up. Tap Room Jiu-Jitsu. I think you know about this place, right? Didn't you tell me about a tournament there or something like that? I thought. No, maybe I'm making it up. Dominic Lobo, he just did a seminar out at 10th Planet Chino Hills. Good for him. And then our boy Christos Papadelos, in between running for president and shaking hands and giving speeches, looked like he was doing some training with the number 8 bantamweight in the world, the one and only Rob Font. And that only jumped out to me because Rob Font came through Nashville last week for the UFC, and he trained with us twice a day for 6 days. Like, this dude is insane. Super great dude. But anyway, yeah, it looks like these guys are staying busy, which is pretty cool. They're getting ready. They're taking it serious. I don't see anybody at, Baskin Robbins gorging out, man. These guys they're coming in hot. So that's my social media update, my friend.
Thank you. See, Tim, the reason why I say it pick one is so that when I've picked one, you didn't take one of them. So it's, listen, it's just a small coordination thing we have to figure out here. This is a two-hander. But guess what? Egg came through clutch and brought up the one I was going to bring in, which is Matt Mash also had a nice win over the weekend as well. That was pretty fun to see. I saw that highlight and I sent him a very complimentary note and was like, yo. And Shay Green put this out and said, yes, he did. Congrats to CJ. They sleeping on him. I don't think you're wrong, Shay. I think CJ could be primed to have a pretty good tournament. I don't know exactly how well, but I think that he will definitely be a good return on his investment. My main question, and I say this as someone older than him, so all due respect, CJ, it's just the PGF is a young man's game. It is not fun when you are old, but now there's a little bit more time in between. So that time in between now, I don't know. Are we going to see the emergence of the older grappler having time to recoup between those weeks? And the commish agrees with us, telling us Murdoch is going to be a real problem. I think some of us in the know understand that's a thing. And yes, when CJ just won that money tournament this weekend, so I think he won $1,500. And I have to tell you this, the group chat for the athletes was actually very complimentary to him. And I can tell you this right now, the group chat is not very complimentary, period. And they were very nice to him. And while we are updating on socials, I think Robert Blackledge is also due some congrats. He had a new addition to the family. So big congrats on him. I cannot believe he will be in the first few months. Like, talk about having an intense schedule. Fortunately, he lives. Well, hold on. Well, fortunately, he lives in Vegas, so that does help. But Tim, a father of two, who now I question how much he was around for those father of two. What is this whole? I don't know.
It's a lot of work when they're little. Those first 2 months. Hey, man, I'm a professional athlete, baby. I can't be home to wake up with the baby. I'm sorry. I need my rest, honey.
Can I point out something real quick?
Good on him, man.
Can I just point this out?
Yes.
So, Egg is the person who you wrap up a nice gift for at Christmas. And you say, all right, kids, it is Christmas Eve. So December 23rd. We can all have you guys. Oh, did you open up your gift already, Egg? Because look at the schedule. I want you to look over here. What does it say next? Tim, can you bother to read what's underneath social?
Schedule.
Okay. So why is it that Egg is already putting this up here now? We are just about to get to schedule, sir. So now I'm going to press the button to make it go. Go in order. That's why we literally made a board to help the ADHD set here. And yet Egg is coming in, footnote being like, well, actually, CJ Murdoch and you didn't even spell Raphael right. You know what? Get off my screen. Never mind. You don't get to have that much attention now. Yes. CJ and Rafael Freire are going to have a match on opening day, which we're about to get to. And I don't want to take away from Tim's ability to preview all of the great things that are going to happen. But let's talk a little bit about opening day moments that are set to happen. They start next week, not this Wednesday, next Wednesday. Tim, what can we expect to see in terms of matchup next week on opening day for PGF Season 8?
Well, there's a couple guys that I got my eye on for the first week. One is Landon Elmore. He's got a pretty tough day on week one. He's got to square up against Jet Thompson, who, Jet's got a lot riding on his shoulders. Probably for the first time, he's come into a tournament where he really is the big dog, or at least considered that in the tournament. So Elmore's got to fight him first. And then he's got to turn around and go back out and compete against Matt Mash, which is not going to be an easy task. And then he has to follow that up against John Chandler. And John Chandler is just one of these guys who's always getting better. He's always improving, adding new things to his game. He's going to have a very tough day ahead of him, but I'm really looking forward to seeing those matchups and seeing how Landon does, because Landon's no joke, right? He has the skills and the ability to match up well against all these guys, but facing them all three in one day is a tough task. And on the flip side, look, the big dog coming into it, he's got to fight Elmore, he's got to fight Mash, and he's got to fight Chandler. So these guys are, him and Elmore, basically fighting the same guys. And I think that'll kind of give a nice little interesting analysis about those two, particularly moving through the rest of the season. So those are the two guys I want to see how they play out.
Thank you for that, Tim. I mean, here's what I'll say. I feel like it being a week away, very interesting. I've seen in the group chat as well, some of the guys when they're scheduled to make their way into Vegas. And as a result of that, you know, you start to realize, like, this is sooner than we think it is. Like, now it's tangible, you feel it. And I think that also kind of comes into the other element, which is I see a note here that said you were talking about CJ. I know, but there's a board. There's an order to this, because you know what happens? I'm going to advance the board. And guess what we're going to do right now? When we advance this board, this is going to say updates on PGF athletes competing. So what are we going to talk about here, guys? Just legitimately, what were we going to talk about here? So, yes, when it's like, calm down, old timer. No, BMAC, it's called a rundown. And number two, Raf, why are you so salty? Because there's an order to this. Some of us who take the time to prepare and want to include comments, we just want the best of all worlds, guys. So, yes, we know these things are happening. Instead, I'm actually going to go to a comment from Shay Green. We're going to see what Jet going to do coming in as the favorite instead of the sleeper. Expecting to see how he performs with the pressure. Great comment. I think it's interesting. The pressure seems to suit him well. I think he wants the pressure. I think he wouldn't have minded coming into the last time as the favorite, but people didn't know about him. Took second, and arguably just within a few seconds of winning that actual thing. I think just on the interactions that we've had with Jet, man, that's a dude who I think he's got a good season ahead of him. But he also has an interesting first day or two, honestly. Like, looking at his schedule as well, like having him start the day off, we'll get a sense right away, right at top of that show, on how it is he does. So there is that. Just as a reminder, since we are in this section, yes, CJ Murdoch did win. We did have some of the guys competing. I think that's pretty much the end of it, right? Like, nobody else is set to compete, right?
I don't think so, but one thing is, like, when you're talking about Jet, I measure how Jet's going to do based on how big his shit-eating grin is when he walks into the building, because if it's a big one, then you know his opponents are in for a long day. The other thing that's a little interesting is, like, on the comp side, man, you mentioned that Murdoch competed recently, Matt Mash competed recently. Those guys are, like, at opposite ends of the spectrum in the age category, with Murdoch being like 36, 37. Mash is like 15. No, I don't know. He's a young guy, though. He's 19, 20, right? Mash has got to do this. He's probably got so much energy. He's got to burn it off. Is Murdoch just kind of like, hey, I got to keep the rust off. Like, we got to keep the weeds from growing. It's not that I have so much energy to burn, but I don't want to have, an extended period of time of inactivity before I go into this major event. So I find it interesting that both these guys did it, because there is a risk. There's a definite risk to competing before a big event.
So Egg brings this up, which is Freya versus Gojani opening day is much more interesting given their group chat shenanigans. So this is what I was alluding to a little bit earlier. The group chat right now, I don't know exactly how much I can detail, but it has gotten so spicy to the point where Rafael is going at Gojani with no problems there. And Gojani keeps hammering him in certain ways for his choice of living in Utah. Let's just say that. It's an intriguing back and forth, but I do feel like that is a very intense match. And I do wonder if Rafael comes at Anthony and beats him aggressively on that day, will we see Anthony continue to be the heel as extreme as he is? Because that little bit of humbling, if Rafael does as he's done in the tournament before, it's going to be intense. And it's not that Rafael doesn't have some of his one-liners here too. Early in the season, when they were asking for profiles, I said Rafael's definitely a babyface, but he's the babyface that could be called a tweener in pro wrestling. A tweener is when you're actually the heel and the babyface, and you kind of float between the two. Because if you look at some of his jokes, not always the babyface jokes. So just keep that in mind in the background. I saw a note here as well, and it says probably smart for players not to compete anymore until the season is over. See Stuart Cooper from last season. The hard part for Stu Cooper is you want to be warm going into it. So for him, you kind of want to come in with some reps, and Stu has had to take long periods of time off for his injuries in the past. So sometimes you take the opportunities that you can so that you're at least competitive with a lot of these young guns. It's a very tough line to hit.
Do you know, Gojani in the group chat is turning into Johnny Fairplay. You remember Johnny Fairplay? You remember Survivor Returns when Johnny Fairplay was the evil Survivor villain, and he approaches Danny Bonaducci on the stage, and Bonaducci just like flips him over and literally over his head and like just knocks the dude out. Gojani is, that should be his nickname.
It's actually not a Gojani.
Not a bad one. Yeah, I like it for Gojani. We'll call him Tony Fairplay.
So it says if you ever shared the mats with CJ, you wouldn't guess he's in his mid-30s. Listen, I'm not the one that has to grapple with him. That's not the issue. I have no issue with that dude probably coming in and wrecking people. This is 18 to 20-year-olds with Wolverine-like healing factors, Tim.
Listen, Shay Green, I'm sure you're a great guy, but I'm not calling him old. He's 37 years old, dude. Like, I'm 47. I get it. But 37's not 17, and it sure as hell ain't 27. It doesn't mean he can't get out there and do it, but it does mean that it is considerably more difficult to do. And if you don't believe that, then I got some shit crypto to sell you, because you sound like you'd be a great candidate for it.
Here's my favorite part is they call it CJ old. So I like that you're trying to start shit with us. I literally said this dude is older than the other competitors. If his body holds up, he's going to be doing stuff. But I also previewed with the idea of, I agree with you, he's probably going to wreck some shop. That is something that we have seen historically in PGF, which is the older members, shock and awe, wait for it, have a hard time healing. And as a result of that, it is a grind of a competition. The difference is now that it's a 5-week marathon sprint, as opposed to just that whole week-long version, you're going to have some time to come through. And it sounds like that 3-match a week sort of thing is what CJ is used to. I am intrigued, though, what happens when you allow some of these young assassins carte blanche to just go out and wreck shop, what that means. I don't care if you're 36. I don't care if you're 26. But one fact is, it does take a toll on the body. And that in itself is something that I think is worth mentioning, rather than you coming in here and being like, yo, I heard they were calling CJ old, and that's all they said. And in fact, they even said, he doesn't know how to dress right. And, I think they said something about his glasses, too. I thought it was kind of weird coming from that brown dude with the glasses. So...
Which one?
You leave it a little bit more open-ended that way. Nick Saff also wishing for the demise of somebody here, saying, whenever they want to quit, I'll be there. So, hey, listen, Nick, very excited to see you. Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, though. You did show up with the suit. So this man at the draft was ready to go in a moment's notice. Jets Magic says, pardon the interruption. Yeah, ish. It's a board. It's an organizational structure that we use to organize the show. Comment section. Having said that, but yes, they do train very intense over in Mount Vernon. We can all agree to that. And then, Tim, this might be for you. It says, whatever happened to that GoFundMe? So did we ever comment on that?
Yeah, we haven't. Well, I guess which GoFundMe are we talking? We never even brought up the GoFundMe that I.
Well, here's a good opportunity to bring some attention to.
So this was for I can't even remember the damn name. Hold on.
Brady.
Oh, Brady. This was Brady. He set up a GoFundMe to raise $1,600, cover some expenses for the PGF. And when I checked it, and this isn't a bad commentary on him. This is a bad commentary on you. Everyone out there listening and watching, you know what his percentage raise was? 0. So you need to get out there. What's Brady's last name?
Hilton.
Brent. How do you pronounce it?
Hilton.
Sorry, bro. Don't get mad.
Hotel.
Brady Hilton. You need to go to his Instagram, link up with his GoFundMe. This guy's trying to get gas money to drive to Vegas. All right? Get it going. You could do it. Don't pay for your OnlyFans this month and send him the money instead. All right. Rant over. Thank you, Raf.
The saddest part of our sport is when we said there's a GoFundMe and you go, which one? Does that not tell you how many different athletes we are taking track of? Not just in PGF, but outside everywhere in the larger scope of jiu-jitsu, being like, do you see that latest GoFundMe?
They're talking about Go Johnnies in the comments, but yeah, you know.
Yeah. I feel that. I understand that. It says go, please talk about the GoFundMe. Yes, they definitely want us to talk about another one. And I see this, Shea Green. I like the little bit of walk back because digital is forever. I agree with you guys. Didn't sound like that initially. For sure, he's going to have to be more mindful in this 5 weeks. There we go. A comment we can all get behind. As opposed to, they call it CJ old over here. See, I don't think those two things line up, sir. Just saying.
My dog's calling him old.
It's like, I heard they're calling them old. But actually, I agree with you guys. I think you guys are sensible. That's really good. Appreciate that. And it says, Nick is ready. I appreciate that as well. That's pretty good. See, Egg, this is a good joke. Nick Saff over here saying, don't tap. He's got nothing. This is great. A+ joke. That way we see maybe Nick make an appearance, an emergence in this. And it says Hilton pronounced Hilton. Yes, like he's an heiress. And then sponsor for the culture. And it says the one for Anthony's. Yeah.
Cloth. His loincloths.
Yeah. There was a day before the draft GoFundMe that we have covered on this show, but will not cover anymore because we will move on to our next topic right now. And that topic, everybody, is one that is pertinent to many of you in the conversation here, which is this. You boys here at the Bullpen are going to do our own fantasy draft. Now, some other shows have done them before the draft. Mistake. Here's why. Things change. Some people go out and compete more. Sometimes you get more information, more knowledge. Those of us here at the Bullpen know the real time to do the draft is going into the actual event. Here's why. What if somebody gets injured? What if we got a redraft? What if they say, oh my God, this person's on this person's team, but then guess what? We magically switch everything around. No, just wait for it to be done. So we will do our draft here on Friday. Pacific. If you're watching over on the East Coast, it'll be toward the end of the day, so almost around a little bit after 5 p.m. We can confirm for the time being that while Craig Jones is going out for cigarettes, Kevin Sherrill is coming back with cigarettes. So Kevin Sherrill will be here on Friday's show.
I would start a GoFundMe to supply Kevin with cigarettes if he would start smoking on the show. Just casually in between takes. The new dirtbag Kevin Sherrill with the mustache. Oh, it would be so good.
So hold on. It says insiders being targeted. We're all good though. I'm not calling out any particular other show. We love the insiders. I'm just saying a production note, Egg, is different than saying we don't like you guys. It's just sometimes there's a board over here that helps us go about doing our business and going in order of things. And sometimes people ignore that. It's just a production issue. And it says, I don't believe you. What do you mean you don't believe me? What is there to say? I'm just letting you know. Why would you do the draft before the draft? Because you don't even know what's going on. In other sports, they literally have a draft and then people do fantasy drafts after that. Logical.
Yeah.
And it says, oh man, we got to change his name from Handsome Kevin to Dirtbag Kevin. If Kevin comes back with whatever it was he put on the upper lip back on this show, 100% right now, and literally type the lower third to Dirtbag Kevin if he brings this mustache. Was a mistake. Oof. That was an evil villain in a telenovela, and choices were made. And it's as part of Marlboro. Yeah, indeed. I would tell you this.
I wish.
So anyways, hold on. Shay, before I move on to the next topic, I'll use my last seconds for this. I got to motivate him, fellas. It sounded like you were making us be the people who are taking the fall for you to be like, you hear what they're saying, CJ? They're calling you old. I believe in you so much. I'm hyping you up, but they don't believe in you, man. Let's go show them. And it says, I'm starting to think y'all killed Kevin. Listen, this just goes to show how many murder podcasts all of you guys consume that you think the only logical reason he's not here, it's not that he's lazy. It's that he got murdered. That's the alibi that we have. This is why we have the worst detectives in jiu-jitsu. This is why anytime somebody's like, actually, this is the truth. No, I do not believe you. The inference skill is very low in this. This is going to turn into a Netflix. See, exactly what I'm talking about. Literally right on the money. BMAC is that female demographic that goes to sleep every night waiting to hear who killed somebody because it helps them with their anxiety. If they know more about murderers, they'll sleep better at night. It's a study. Go look at it. And it says, how many times in the last 3 months has Kevin been on the show?
Once.
Egg, you would know that. How do you not know that? In fact, I'm insulted that you don't have that number available right now. I thought better of you. So
that's probably a trick question. Yeah.
Yeah. If he had led with that and then had the stat, that'd be great. Rumors. All right. We alluded to this a little bit earlier, but we have kind of a juicy rumor here. It's kind of hard to really substantiate, but I'm going to let Tim take the reins on this one. Tim, well, actually, before Tim goes, I saw this note here, and I think it was Egg. No, it wasn't Egg. It was actually Isaac. It said, is that Fleetwood Mac up in the top right? It is. Why do you think? Just it's literally in the photo why it's them. I digress. Tim, I'm putting time on the clock. What is the juiciest rumor going around about the PGF right now?
So and I always got my ear to the ground. I'm like, I could just, something's not right in the world. And then I can suss it out just like a dog with his nose in the grass, looking for the right place to cop a squat. So apparently there's some buzz out there that we are going to potentially see a new team in the PGF. And from my plethora of unofficial sources, this may come in a different composition than what we're used to seeing. I'm not sure if that means it's going to be one dude, one company, or what exactly that even means, but I'm hearing that it may be structured a little bit different, which I find extremely interesting. And I think it's a good thing if this happens. Like if something happens like this and it comes through, we see another team. That's a great thing because we know New Hope, the New Hope Kings out of Las Vegas, they just bam, they're out there this season. Bring another new team in. That's just more momentum for what is happening in the PGF. So I think it could be a very good thing. I'm super interested in seeing what the structure is because if it makes it easier to get a team, then we might see a bunch of new teams. So I don't know. I got to keep my ear to the ground, see what else I could suss out.
Okay, let me see if I can figure this out. So we could potentially have two fully owned teams.
Yeah.
Okay. There's only 4 teams. So that would make things very interesting. I have to wonder, though, do they get to pick the team?
I don't know.
Hmm. It would make you wonder if there is an advantage to doing that. Almost like you wait for the draft to happen and then you do something after the draft.
That's why you're a profesh, Ref. Profesh.
I'm just saying, our people out here being like, you guys targeting us. That seems like, it's like, no, it's just, why wouldn't you do that? It's not cheating. Listen, other people are out here taking steroids in our sport and be like, that's not cheating. And they're like, I guess logically so. This is literally, the dates when everything happens, and you just go.
Look, targeted from the inside and attacks me from behind. That's target.
Definition of targeted, if we're being honest. That we're less vindictive than that one. I guess the only thing to kind of allude to or think about here is, let's say that, yes, they do get the opportunity to have this happen, or they do get the opportunity to have a second team. Here's why I do like it, Tim. It opens up the door for us to see a rivalry between 2 different teams in a very different subtext. It's not to say that anybody's not going to have some kind of thing going on. It's just that maybe, just maybe, you would see New Hope have a rival, a Green Goblin to their Spider-Man, a Superman to the Zack Snyder fan base. Like, there would be some kind of conflict that would really drive the season I'm interested in. And it does say, oh no, Moneyberg ain't getting nothing. That is a declarative sentence, sir. And it only makes me wonder if we are only closing the doors to him because he said, no more jiu-jitsu stuff. You guys suck. I'm out with my black belt. See you in Kempo in 2 years. Nope, 3 weeks. Did it. So there be that. And it says Stephen Aiken, pronounced Aiken. I mean,
Aiken pronounced. Oh, you know what? Omelet head. I'll pronounce his name however I damn please. You got it?
So my client here was so injured that he might have suffered some CTE as a result of that direct attack. So I would be very careful about claiming which last name it is here, Isaac, because that would incur some sort of responsibility from financial benefits here. Just saying. So, Tim, I do have some news for you. And I guess the question is, do we want to do this? Because the fight you sent me for this week is a fight we have already done before.
Is it really?
Are
you sure?
It is, because I'm looking at it right now, and we have done it. I know the jokes that I've done it before. And I love this. And it says, I can confirm there is a new team. Think Green Bay Packers, FC Barcelona. Interesting.
Cheese and wine. I got it. It's a cheese and wine.
I mean, I love the fact that we have the Riddler commish out here giving us some notes. And it says, how'd I get lassoed into that? You commented. That's what happened. That's what doing a live show does. People were like,
I think it was Egg that corrected the pronunciation.
is it him?
Yeah, but Isaac got hit with a stray.
Oh, it is. No, one and the same. We're good. So
one and the same.
I guess the thing is, do you want to do this fight?
Are you certain we did this fight before?
I'm fairly certain that we have done this fight, sir.
We've done gym fights, but I don't remember this gym fight.
You don't remember this gym fight because you don't profile people. You don't see color. I unfortunately do. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, I recognize these dudes. Oh, you are.
I'm biologically colorblind. Like, so I can't see color. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, brother?
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to you. I actually have to cut. I got a hard out here.
I was about to say, sir, you do need to get out of here. So I will go ahead and take the reins for the last of this. Tim, we will see you a little bit later. Thank you, sir, very much for your time.
Love you guys.
We will see you back on Friday for the draft, sir.
Yes, sir. I will be back. Watch PGF Season 8. Don't be a putz.
Thank you much for that, Tim Freeman. All right, you guys. Last couple reminders here before we start to close up. I'll take a couple of your questions and your notes. And it says, gallery. Yeah, let's do that. It says, Isaac and me. Sure, we're twins. Of course you guys are. I always see you together. That's all. Literally like the double mint twins. And it says, the low functioning community that we are. Well, listen. We've had some people like Mr. Moneyberg refer to us as low functioning athletes. And, sometimes he's not wrong, honestly, in that regard. But that doesn't make him right that he is a black belt in anyone's degree or mark. It seems my dog has made a return here. Noted. Virtually identical. Yes, of course. All right. Here's some reminders, you guys. First and foremost, Grappling Hour, you can support me, or you can go to Patreon at Inside BJJ to support Tim at Inside BJJ. They put up great stuff as well. But if you're coming to support me, a lot of people, and you can already get to know a lot of the athletes about this season who are competing on the Grappling Hour pages. That's on YouTube and the Patreon pages. So I see this. You might be slow, sir. No, I'm not slow. Slow is when, let's just say this. Low functioning as opposed to other things, I guess is the right way. And it says breaking news on the Dream Show tomorrow. Thank you. Appreciate that. Would be fun to watch. Definitely will tune in for that. So check us out there. You can also find us this Friday. We're going to return back here with the bullpen. Myself, Tim, probably Kevin, and we should be doing the draft. If not, we'll have another full show to bring you guys, including more updates about what's going on in the larger jiu-jitsu world and much, much more. I think there's still going to be some fallout from the B team, so just be on the lookout for that. And if you guys want, we would love it. Give us a like, a comment, a share. Many of you have been commenting the entire time. It says we're plugging another person's show here. That's how you guys know. Everybody gets in their plugs as I'm doing my plugs in the comment section. You're welcome. And what else? RafAsparza.com. Get you some Grappling Hour merch. Much appreciated if you support the show. Goes directly into buying equipment or this season buying me gas to make me go on over that one. Maybe I should do a GoFundMe. It's a good idea. Can I write that off on my taxes? I'll talk to my guy. But do us a solid, you guys. Keep watching here. We enjoy you. Get to know our PGF Season 8 athletes. It's going to be a blast this season. We're almost a week away. So get excited for opening day. Your boy will be out in Vegas. It's going to be a blast. So that is going to be kind of all of the good stuff to chat about for today. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. We love you guys. It has been a great day for grappling.